Did you know, in the world of Valorant, you are actually saving the world by planting the spike in Lotus? We all know the spike is a kind of bomb or something that inflicts damage to the area around it. You actually will die if you get in the blast radius. So how are you exactly saving the world that way? Well, welcome to Valorant Lore, Part 7. Lotus is an ancient city that houses a structure called the Multiverse Nexus. This nexus has the ability to link various universes and facilitate interdimensional transport. Each universe likely has its own version of the nexus. To activate a nexus, it seems to require another corresponding nexus from a different universe to connect to. When activated, it sends out a shockwave to the receiving nexus. If an activated nexus were targeted toward a universe where the corresponding nexus had been destroyed, it would release a massive shockwave, causing widespread destruction. This was a significant concern for Alpha Earth, as their version of the city had been destroyed. To prevent Legion from activating the nexus on Omega Earth, a team of agents, including Harbor, Astral, and Sky, was sent to Lotus. Their mission was to block the Nexus's power supply system by stealing the radionite in the city. So, planting the spike in this context was a strategic move to thwart the activation of the Multiverse Nexus and prevent catastrophic consequences for the multiverse, particularly for Alpha Earth. It was a way to safeguard against the potential misuse of this powerful interdimensional technology. Now let's talk a bit about the Astral Guardians. The Astral Guardians are a group of entities in the Valorant lore tasked with defending reality and space-time from disturbances or collapse. Astra is the first known Astral Guardian introduced in the game. She wears a gauntlet on her left arm that aids her in her duties as a guardian. These guardians have left behind artifacts, such as Astra's gauntlet and Harbor's bracelet, and which are made of a unique gold material and seem to choose specific individuals to wield their power. These artifacts are linked to the Astral Guardians and have specific functions tied to their users. The story begins with Alpha Astra and Alpha Harbor making a long trek through a forest overlooking Lotus. They had traveled from the teleporter in Pearl to reach the city. Alpha Sky had been with them for most of the journey, but got separated as she engaged in combat with Atlas soldiers who were attempting to prevent them from reaching Lotus. Leaving Sky behind, Astra and Harbor continue their journey, navigating the challenging terrain. They eventually arrive at the entrance to the city of Lotus. Using artifacts created by the Astral Guardians, they manage to open the gate to the city. However, at this point, something unexpected happens. Upon opening the gate and entering Lotus, both Astra and Harbor fall unconscious and end up in a body of water within the City of Flowers. Most likely that Harbor misuses his bracelet, or maybe he isn't experienced enough to wear it. After some period of unconsciousness, Astra and Harbor awaken and find themselves within the city, and they started exploring the lost city. In the meantime, we see that the Omega agents are being notified about the breach in Lotus, and they are immediately sent there to protect it. A 5-man team of Omega Killjoy, Omega Sage, Omega Jet, Omega Rays, and Omega Fade was sent to defend the site. The duo stumbled into them as they were exploring the lost city, and a firefight began. As Astra and Harbor were pinned down by enemy fire, Alpha Brimstone was ready to come in with some backup, but without knowing the lay of the land, was unable to help out. Astra projected herself into her astral form, exploring the map to find a path for him to take, settling on a silent approach. However, in the time that Alpha Astra had spent exploring the map, Omega Astra had arrived.
Counterpart. She's already here.
As Omega Astra approached activation mechanism of the Nexus located in Lotus B site, With a turn of her hand, she turned it on, causing the bronze plate at the bottom of the site to retract backwards and unveil a pinkish-yellow beam of energy underneath the nexus. The beam shot up into the sky, lighting the entire city with an ominous dark shadow over the entire city. However, only a few seconds after Astra had completed the activation, a spike detonated in Lotus Sea site, which completely deactivated the nexus. But how a spike was able to deactivate the nexus? In other Valorant maps, spike plant sites have obvious sources of radionite, generally taking the form of green or orange glowing crates. There doesn't appear to be any obvious or concentrated source of radionite on any of Lotus's 3 sites. This mysterious circumstance occurred because the spike would have drawn out the radionite from the panels on the city walls on detonating, which also served as power sources for the Nexus itself, and therefore the Nexus was shut down and Alpha Earth Team won this battle. Despite being 3v6,